Right. We are going live now. Uh Hello everyone. Welcome to UPC Draft League. This is our first draft league using the Sword and Shield format. Will, would you like to inform the people on how our format actually is laid out?
Hello, everybody. This is E4 Will coming at you, and I'm going to let you know a little bit about what's going on because we've got, as Dean had mentioned here, a whole new format, Sword and Shield. You got Dynamaxing. There will be some G Maxing involved in this with what's been released so far, and we've got a little bit of a tier to this draft league because everything's so new with Sword and Shield. We've got about a half and half. It's a hybrid variant of a draft league. Normally, what you would see are tiers of either speed tiers or points tiers to allow people to come in as players and coaches to draft their Pokemon. That way, everything's evenly distributed, and you don't have any teams that are just overbearingly powerful in certain areas. Excuse me. Um, but this time around, because everything has just been released a couple weeks ago, we did a hybridization of previous generations tiering with new generation tiering. So, what we've got a little bit of that with we've got Gen 7, the Sun and Moon USUM Alola tiering. We've got so many that have been allowed for Pokemon that have previously existed before the drop of Sword and Shield, and then everything in the Galar decks has been pretty much untiered. So we allowed for five previous generation picks, and then for five Galar decks picks. So the first five, you've got one OU pick from Gen 7. You're also allowed one UU, an underused pick. Two rarely used picks, the RUs, and then one never used pick. That accounts for five of your first picks there, and then the other five will be untiered Gallard Dex picks. So,
And of course, anything that's in any of the borderline tiers gets tiered up to the appropriate
for
tier.
example, like UUBL, the big one this time around was Gyarados in Gen 7 because Gyarados by itself with Moxie and Intimidate is just such a strong Pokemon that it was a UUBL Pokemon. Of course, the Mega Gyarados was brought up to OU, but just regular Gyarados by itself was just such a dominating presence that it was bumped from UUBL to OU for our draft tiers. And then in Gen 8, of course, we'll see how that goes.
I guess without further ado, I guess we'll start out with the San Francisco 49 Tails team.
This is our friend Matt, his team here. He got a pretty strong pick here right off the bat, Dean. What do you think about that first one right there?
That that Dragapult's scary. I've seen so many different builds with it that it's going to be very tricky to really predict how he's going to build it.
It's unlike many of the other pseudos that have ever been dropped before because this thing's speed stat is ridiculous. It's uncanny how fast this thing is.
What, like a 142, something like that?
Yeah, in that neighborhood, I think you may have hit it right on the head there. That is just ridiculous. I mean, that's outspeeding most Pokemon with Choice Scarf capability. So that's quick.
Yeah.
And
And,
what do you think about that signature move?
well, I know that's definitely going to be a sash breaker. I mean, takes care of that, takes care of sturdy. I love the animation where the Dreepies are just pew right
That's
at the
great.
enemy, but I mean, it's in a base 50 two hitting move. It's something we've not seen.
It accounts for more than 100. Most people would think, oh, okay, it's 100 base stat speed or power. No, not exactly, because that same type attack bonus is calculated for every hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get that is it 1.2 times
Uh,
multiplier, 20% addition?
yeah,
So you get a 20% addition onto the 50 base power, which is 10, right? So you're actually getting two 60 base power moves. So it's pretty strong.
yeah,
That's the equivalent to hitting, two. Uh, Forgive me, hidden power was around for so long that it just feels like it was like that. Still, it's like hitting two hidden powers, only physical. So
clear body. You decide to bring a physical set, and you don't have to worry about intimidate. But from what I remember, there wasn't a terrible lot of Intimidate Mons drafted in this year's draft.
Not a lot in this season. The big thing that I think Curse Body will really kick in for is all of those sticky webs. There's going to be a lot of sticky webs this
Yeah.
season, I think. So coming in on sticky webs with Dragapult because he is so fast, that's one way people will try to maintain him. And with Clear Body, there's nothing it can do, you know. And with Infiltrator, it can go right around those sub setups. We've got an Ice Cube a little bit later on. There's a lot of Pokemon out there that just love to get behind the substitute and start to wreak havoc. So Dragapult's a great pick. I'm really excited to see what can happen with it as this generation progresses.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
Colossal. I can
yep.
see his like like his big usability in doubles, considering Steam Engine. But how do you think
Mm-hmm.
he's going to be utilized in singles?
Colossal, he is abysmally slow. He's fairly bulky. He's nothing crazy, but with that quad weakness to water and there being such an abundance of water in this generation, maybe not just necessarily with typing, but with move pools expanding and egg groups intertwining again with this generation and hybridizations through Galar forms. There's just a lot that can beat Colossal down. So if you can time it right, or if you can pull it right, maybe put a Pasho berry on the guy to that's the quad weak to or the water super effective hit resistance berry.
Hmm.
You put that on there and EV him right, you get that plus six stages right off the bat for speed. Then he turns from abysmally slow to your worst nightmare because here comes a mountain of coal to bury you. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So paired with a lot of other Pokemon, like on Russell's team looking forward, you've got Toxapex for regenerator switch ins, you've got Torkoal for status and hazard control, then you've got Bronzong to maybe set up Trick Room and reverse everything, and Gothitelle for Shadow Tag Nasty Plot setups to remove any kind of serious problems. Colossal could actually very well fit into this team and be able to get a lot of KOs because he can pack a punch and he can get set up. You have to be very, very careful with him
Yeah.
with that quad weakness to water.
Yeah. Zong. It's going to be scary.
Yeah. Bronzong's always just a great Pokemon because all of his abilities are good. I mean, we'll get later on, and you'll just see some of these Pokemon. It's like you can run those with literally any of the abilities. Conkeldurr is one of them. That's just my favorite for that because you can just bring these Pokemon with anything, and it's a guessing game to figure out how to hit them. Because look at Bronzong, right? You can't hit him with ground type moves with Levitate. You can't hit him with fire type moves with Heat Proof because it's basically neutral damage. And then if you put heavy metal on him and hit the gyro ball on maybe one of these fast Dynamax Airstream setup sweepers, oh my god!
Yeah.
I mean, Bronzong is going to destroy you even with the HP buff. So
It's going to be crazy for him.
do you think
Uh,
about Graplocked there? I think the Graplocked will be interesting. I'm always terrified to see those in game.
yeah. Uh, I just watched one of the Poketubers that I watch, Pimp Knight, do a Graplock sweep where essentially he just sets up Sticky Web, moves in, and just bulks up after setting up Octolock, and the opponent. I mean, by the time they get anything in, it's too late. He's set up, and he's just absolutely smacking them down.
Tulu there coming in hot. I don't know what exactly it gets with Technician Boost, but I have a feeling I'm going to find out the hard way.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what would really benefit from that,
Hmm,
but like you said,
hard to say.
we'll find out.
Yeah, hopefully Hurley can pull some things out and make us pay there because I'd like to see him do well this season. I know I'm kind of jumping around a bit there, but I'm looking up at that Mr. Mime there, and I had to educate myself on what Screen Cleaner ability was. It is a ability that is unique to Mr. Rhyme and Mr. Mime. And what it is when he switches in, it removes Reflect, Light Screen, and everybody's favorite, especially since a lot of Pokemon get access to it this generation,
Aurora Veil.
Aurora Veil. Yep. Now we don't have a whole lot in this draft league that get Aurora Veil, but I think the screen cleaner is really cool. I'd like to see that come in a situation where Aurora Veil or other screens are almost guaranteed because I've been seeing a lot of prankster Grimmsnarl with screen setup lately, so maybe Mr. Rhyme can come in and make it pay.
Yeah.
Pex is just constant cancer, and Rapidash is going to be cool. That speed tier plus some good stab moves like Zen Headbutt and
Play
Play
rough.
Rough. That's
Yeah.
going to be awesome. Defiant Bisharp, as always, is going to be great. Even though he can't Pursuit Trap anymore, that knockoff is just deadly because it feels like there's not a lot of those left in the game.
Mm-mm.
So that's going to be great. I think Hurley's got a great team. Looking forward to this season.
Yeah. I know one interesting thing that I saw somebody using on Rapidash was high horsepower to counteract some of the steel types.
It needs to have it. It needs to have it. Come right in the face.
Okay.
Jump into the next team here. We've got
Yep. We
we
got
got Russell up
Russell.
next. There's a lot of weird leg boys here, if we're being honest. Like, look at the legs on this team.
I mean, the only thing that's not got legs that I can see is Frostmoth.
And Pincushion got legs, but they're reassigned. They're in
Yeah.
a different place. And I mean, don't get me started on where his butt is, because it's just ridiculous. I mean, I like the Mon, but my
Yeah.
God, Pukumuku, what happened to you? This
He,
is this is what happens when Dr. Frankenstein straps you to the lightning machine.
you get a butt
It
face
just
and you
takes
get covered in
Pukumuku.
spikes.
Yeah. No, no. If we want to talk about Frankenstein, then it means it needs to be Dracozolt first. I mean, look
Yeah.
at
I mean, it's literally been cut in half.
there's a lot going on there, and I don't know if I like it, but
I mean, hustle blunder policy is a lot of things that I've been seeing people talk about on that.
blender policy plus hustle and its signature move Bolt Beak, it just makes him fantastic. Uh, Obviously, the setup again with the sticky webs
Hmm.
is great for Dracozolt. I think Frostmoth gets access to that, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I've got that wrong. I know Shuckle does for sure,
Yeah.
and Shuckle's just a problem. So Dracozolt coming in and hitting massive bolt beaks. He can be choice banded just like his counterpart with Dracovish, and then maybe a blender policy hustle set one week. These things are deadly tools in the pocket of the new fossil Pokemon.
Just wish they weren't so ugly.
Yeah, yeah. Or maybe they could breed, but
Yeah.
they are abominations, so they probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Um, is Pincurchin? I was noticing it gets electric surge. Is that released yet, or am
It's
I just crazy?
it
Or
is released. It is just it's a hidden ability that I guess you have to get from some of the 5-star raids, but it is
sure,
actually out there.
kind of bargain Tapu. Since all of course, the Tapu Pokemon from Alola have been removed from the game, there are a lot of these other Pokemon that have been instated here in the Galar region that have got. Uh, they're kind of a pseudo Tapu of some sorts. They've got Electric Surge on Pincursion. You've got Wheezing with the Misty Surge, Indeedee with the Psychic Surge, and then hopefully Rillaboom here before too long with the Grassy Surge, and then of course all of the Dynamax moves have all that effect afterwards. So really cool to see that coming in to kind of replace the meta from before with the Tapus.
Yeah. Then we got Newt
Old
next.
Newt Newt. Yeah, stuck his head in the freezer for about 3 hours too long.
That's
Pokedex
that's
entry for this one says that he sticks his head underwater because it feels cold, and its head is sensitive to heat. And I'm like, man, that's just dumb. Look at this thing. Look at this dude.
yeah. And I can't ever read no ice other than noise when I see
Nice.
it.
You got his noise. Yeah, no, he's bargain Mimikyu, and honestly, I think he's better because that when he loses the ice face, he gets kind of unburdened in a way, and that speed stat goes way up, and moves like Belly Drum makes him very deadly. So
Hmm.
excellent draft here, Pokemon. If you can play smart and predict some physical hits to use that ice face well, then it's going to get some kills. It's going to be a great draft league Pokemon.
Sure. Then we got your boy that you briefly mentioned earlier, Conk. He's
Conky,
just
what can he not do? I mean, he gets all of it, so
he's
it's
just
just a
a
problem.
he's just a force. You can't
Thing that I'm sorry.
I just you just can't deal with him sometimes.
No, yeah, he is a terrifying clown. The thing I think about Conch Elder that will be handy in the Galar region here with Dynamax being in the game is that Max Mindstorm producing psychic terrain as an after effect. It's basically like if you remember Muse, Z move, the Genesis Supernova,
Mhm.
where it produced the psychic surge effect afterwards.
Yep.
Well, that's what Dynamax moves does with all of the psychic type physical, like the attacking moves. So hitting Conk with a super effective psych move and then crippling him, keeping him from that mock punch. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome because Conk's not exactly fast, and this isn't exactly a trick room team. So
No. No
it's a
setter
huge
in
plus.
sight.
Right.
This is
Haxorus.
yeah, I was gonna say if anything, this is the opposite of a trick room team, minus Shuckle and Conk.
Hey, you've got a lot of setup sweepers here. You've got Ice Cube to set up. You've got Frostmoth to set up. You got Drapion to set up with Swords Dance. You got Haxorus to set up with D Dance. Drakazult with just whatever it wants to do. Shuckle supports. Pincurchin supports. Rillaboom is ridiculous because he slows everything down with that drum beating. But you know, Braviary, oh my God, you want to talk about MVP in the making? Like we can talk about Drakazole, we can talk about Haxorus' setup or Conkeldurr's versatility. Braviary is where it's at.
Yeah.
That is such a quality pick that late. That's round 7. Picking up Braviary, the Dynamax killer. Defiant ability, anytime it takes one of those secondary effects from a Dynamax move, like dropping special defense or speed, any of those, then Braviary gets a 2 times attack boost, and it's already pretty strong. It's got a great ability, and then it's picked up new moves this generation, like close combat.
Mhm.
That just I don't know, it just makes him so much better. Braviary is going to be good.
Yeah, it's good seeing close combat instead of having to necessarily run superpower since you don't have to drop your own stats.
I think that's been a crucial thing for a lot of Pokemon, picking that TR move up this generation.
Say Shuckle. What else can
Those
we
that are
say
not
about
familiar with
Shuckle?
Shuckle's just a problem. He's such a problem. Now, be as big of a deal with Pokemon being in this meta like Corsola that people are adapting to, learning how to play against these just nuisance Pokemon that don't go away
Mhm.
almost at all. Um, so hopefully everybody in this league, especially, and then everybody in the meta as a whole, will develop ways, even maybe through Dynamaxing or through teams like this with so many setup sweepers to be able to handle problems like Shuckle.
Yeah.
So I like the team. I think it's great. I think there's a lot of very scary setup potential if you make the wrong move or you calculate wrong and he gets the right Dynamax off, then it's going to be over quickly. A lot of Russell's games will be over very quickly, either in his favor or in his opponent.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, it's going to be a prediction game on his part for this, and I mean, in the last few seasons, we've seen him get a lot better. So
leaps and bounds, a lot of positive strides. He's getting much better, much quicker. Now there's been a reshuffling of the deck, and it's going to be hard for everybody to find their footing to be able to do well and to succeed maybe to the standards they've held to themselves in the past. Um, I know I'll be struggling a little bit with trying to figure out how to play around Dynamaxing. It's a whole new, forgive me, dynamic
hmm
to the whole game. It's just hard to figure out. It really is. So it requires finesse.
yeah.
You think about Mark's team coming up here? We got a lot of things that maybe you've seen in OU tier, and maybe some things you just haven't seen at all.
Well, I mean, I already see the synergy between the Weezing and the Halucha going on, setting up the Misty
It's going to be
Terrain.
great,
I mean,
just like
even
that pseudo Tapu set.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he's even got Indeedee too for Psychic Surge if he decided to go that route. But I mean, obviously, the first thing that he's got on this list is a very scary one, especially against people that like to set up.
Any kind of Dynamax should be afraid of Ditto. And any Pokemon that is built around Dynamaxing should be afraid because immediate imposter plus, say, Choice Scarf or Choice Band,
Hmm.
considering if it's Dynamaxing against one of the bulkier setups. Oh my god. Oh my god, Ditto's a monster. It's the best generation for it. It's been 20 years and Ditto has finally hit it. He waited. He's been daycare fodder. He's done things that no one else should ever have to do in a Pokemon world, and here he is. Look at him, champion. That man right there, he has the expression on his face already. He's seen things, but he's gonna see so much more, and it's gonna be deaths and flames and destruction, and he loves it. It was a little much, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's good.
Uh, anyways, yeah, Weezing got a mustache, so that's cool.
Yeah, and we got Doug Dimmadome in the Pokemon world now. Uh,
Now, things that I think Weezing can do, with that neutralizing gas ability that may prove helpful. I think that's more of a doubles ability, today, just in my mind playing around with it,
mhm.
that than it would be in singles, but I don't think that it removes all of its ability because, um, there should be just some moves that lose their luster when having to go up against Weezing. I was talking about Grimmsnarl a little bit ago. You know, Grimmsnarl is a fairy type Pokemon. It's weak to poison, and without Prankster, you could potentially build a Weezing set faster than an unprepared Grimmsnarl.
Yeah,
Hit it with a massive Dynamax, poison move, and bam, it's gone. No screen setups for the whole game. It's gone. It's over with. Durant is down there, and that's another one of those blunder policy Pokemon that could come in and do some massive things this season because that blunder policy with it missing a move due to accuracy, giving that speed boost would make Durant not just unbearably fast, but lightning speed. He's already 109 base stat speed, and
yeah, that'd be
doubling
crazy.
whatever it would be. Oh my God, he'll afford to be able to use physical type, um, like the attack boosting natures
Hmm.
instead of maybe those speed boosting ones all the time because of hustle. So really looking forward to see a blunder policy Durant set at some point along because he's basically agility Scizor at that point.
Yeah,
There's no Scizor in this Dex, and Durant is a bargain.
and I mean now he doesn't have to worry about an HP fire being just chucked on something. I mean, if you
Oh,
see,
there's no sneaky moves. Appleton's another one that will benefit from that for sure.
hmm,
It's always been a plague on ground dragon types for that quad weakness to ice. Um, Now we've got Appleton.
yep,
Appleton comes in and won't even have to worry about that quad weak hidden power ice sneaking in there because the ice beams and the blizzard and the icy wind and so on, which Appleton's a little thicker than icy wind can do, but ice beam and blizzard for sure, those would be problems. But they're also predictable, so you can
yeah,
get your apple pie straight up out of there before it gets cooled off too quickly. Really looking forward to see how that ripen ability comes in for that Pokemon.
hmm,
Certain berries, with pinch berries being nerfed a little bit, stat boosting berries in a pinch will become ridiculously good for Appleton because he can get so much faster and use his bulk to get to that range, and then he can use access moves like Recover and Giga Drain to get all of that health right back while maintaining that stat increase, whichever he decides to get. So I think that could be a great Pokemon altogether.
yeah, yeah. I've seen quite a few ripened Salic Berry Flapples.
Flapple's just a great mon, man. I mean, I'm a little biased to Appleton for cuteness, but I know Flapple means business. I got him on mine, so he's gonna he's gonna put in some work this season. I'm gonna experiment around with him. We'll find out what he can do.
How? Mamoswine's gonna be a pretty hard guy to deal with in some of these games. There's
That's
a
why it always seems to be a problem.
Man,
He's so thick.
he's got priority with Ice Shard,
Yeah.
and I mean he can just hit whatever he wants to really hard.
He gets massively strong stab moves with Earthquake and Icicle Crash.
Yeah.
It's crippling. You put a choice band on him and he eats. You put an assault vest on him and he eats defensively.
Mhm.
I mean, he doesn't need any stats boosted. He doesn't need any recovery. He's just got all the stats already there. He can just come in and start dealing it out. So Mamoswine is Mamoswine actually is the correct pronunciation. But Mamoswine is just a fantastic Pokemon. Like the Salazzle, I like the Thievul, I like the Dusknoir for secret reasons. We'll leave those to themselves because I think they will come in clutch this season. But I just like the composition of this whole team. It's very balanced.
Mhm.
There's a decent amount of thickness to it. There's a decent amount of kind of strategy to it that I think will come off. But it's not in contrast to teams like Russell's, which are meant to stack up hits. You know, the setup.
Mhm.
This team for the smoke screens is going to be based around a lot of skill, and it's unlike the other two teams we've already went over. I think it's going to stand out from the field in a whole.
Yeah. Mm.
So let's move on to the Nieto Kings here.
All right, and I
The
mean,
first pick for the Nieto Kings was just the one we were all waiting for because this Pokemon is ridiculous.
yeah, yeah. There's plenty of Moxie Gyarados floating around in the Sword and Shield game right now. Seems like every other team has one.
It gets two pretty much it's pseudo boosts, right?
Mhm.
When it Dynamaxes, the water move produces the rain, which boosts more water moves to follow. And then the max airstream provides the speed boost that, in case you didn't already need it, you know, from the Dragon Dance that Gyarados has been known for, or maybe the Moxie boost that it gets from stacking up those KOs from the extremely hard hits that it deals. You know, Gyarados is you have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing, or you have to
Mhm.
have tools on your team to be able to take the hits because it will sweep you
Yeah. Yeah. For
and it won't think twice.
sure,
Corviknight's
scary
got that.
mon.
It is, you know, also terrifying, like haunting my dreams. This whole team haunts my dreams. Look at this
Yeah.
thing.
This is
Look at this team.
oh the uh, I forgot about the Snorlax at the bottom there.
It's the most terrifying one. Like you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, I have yogurt in the fridge, and then you go in there and there's Snorlax at your table. Like, no, you don't. And Polteageist just pours it another glass. And then Grimmsnarl comes out and breaks your neck from the shadows. I mean, Hydreigon's outside burning the village down, and Corviknight's laughing at it. I mean, this whole team is terrifying, except for maybe Espeon.
Yeah. This
It
team
looks
is
harmless, but it's not. It's Baby Yoda.
this team's a natural disaster in the making.
It is. It's a M Night Shyamalan. It's a oh god. It's a Stephen King convention.
Oh jeez.
Uh, It is. It's Pet Cemetery with Espeon. Polteageist can do things with Shell Smash and the weak armor set. Hydreigon is just a problem because now it gets access to Nasty Plot. Corviknight with the bulk up, roost, power trip sets, and Dynamax problems. Mirror Armor is a fantastic ability. Anaconda gets the Gmax form. Grimmsnarl gets the Gmax form. Corviknight gets the Gmax form. Snorlax gets the Gmax form. Why did we let this happen?
I don't know.
There's not a whole lot you can do. Like there's people are upset with the lack of stuff in Galar. I think it's the exact opposite problem. I think there's not much, but all of it's good,
Mhm.
right? Every single Pokemon has more than just a niche. They all have some sort of overbearing strength to them that just has to be tapped into.
Oh, for
And
sure.
this team has a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, for sure.
old school and new school. So the most interesting one to me, though, I think, is definitely the Poltegeist. That Poltegeist is reminiscent of Chandelure sets from days past, but I think Poltegeist is almost an improvement on Chandelure because it loses that fire typing.
Yeah.
You get straight Ghost, and there are so many things that it can do. Maybe not from its move pool, but what it can hit and
Yeah.
how hard it can hit. So I'm really looking forward to see Pokemon like Poltegeist and Grimmsnarl, even Eldegoss as a sponge Pokemon. See what they can do to take hits and deal them out.
Eldegoss has got like a 120 special defense stat, something like that.
It's good, really good, and you make it a defense nature, it could even take some hits. So with the Regenerator and moves like Leech Seed, Giga Drain, and the Cotton Down ability to drop Pokemon's speed to where maybe it could take advantage of that a little better.
Hmm.
I think Eldegoss will find its niche very quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the team. I really do. I think there's a lot of offense to it, maybe overbearingly physical offense. Um, but we will see how that all turns out once the season gets into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else?
And
Sorry.
let's see. And you've got your physical tank with Sandaconda. I mean, setting up sand for pretty much just getting
Mhm,
hit for anything.
mhm.
I mean, you got your special with Eldegoss, and I mean, like you said, there's a lot of physical going on here. A lot of physical.
I think this generation sand will be more valuable than ever because breaking all of those setup sweepers sash, like
Mm-hmm.
Gyarados in particular, has the sash, and maybe that we'll see that come back to bite him in the butt a little bit because Gyarados almost has to have that focus sash to set up with that quad weakness to electricity. And even though there's not a electric Pokemon in the tier, there are still quite a few electric moves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we will see how all that turns out. But I think Sand will be better this generation than before. Oh, I'm seeing who's up next.
Oh boy, it's me.
I don't know how to handle this. You wanna meta analysis yours, or you want me to try to?
Uh, well, I mean, me and you talked about it beforehand. We were pretty much just winging it going into it.
Right.
Uh,
I feel like it turned out pretty good though. Looking
yeah,
at it,
I I tried to get a few things that I thought might counter a few of the things that I've seen being prominent in the meta. I mean, Compound Alice Galvantula is going to be interesting for a couple of different counters that I have in mind. Uh,
well, yeah.
Runarigus, I mean, he's bulky both ways, and I mean, stealing opponents' abilities instead of giving them a crappy one. That's a interesting take on that.
I think that's much better. It's a very much needed improvement to Coffagrigus to be Runarigus. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the typing's good. Straight Ghost. We've talked about how good Straight Ghost is before, but this Ghost Ground, there's only been a couple other Pokemon to get this, and I know one of them is one of your favorite Pokemon, not just for draft here, but other competitive formats. In Golurk, Golurk is very underrated, and Runarigus may be able to pick up where Golurk left off
Yeah.
because of the way things were drafted this time around. We won't see Golurk in this draft because of the hybridization of what was picked and how we had to do it, just because there's no tiering. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it'll be back very, very soon because
Yeah.
Golurk can do a lot coming up soon with so many Pokemon in this meta that are Ghost type or weak to Ghost.
Yeah, I see him coming back probably in the next singles, maybe not for doubles, but the next single season.
Or how about the singles tier, the Surfetched? I mean, he does it and he does it with class. Look at that boy.
Yeah, I had to do it. I had to. I mean, it's hard not to want to use Surf Edge. I mean, he's got a
You
ridiculous.
whack him and you quack him.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a ridiculous evolution method. I mean, he's stupid strong.
It is a ridiculous evolution method, but it just prepares you for what the evolved form will do. You got to get those 3 crits on one Pokemon in one battle, or 3 crits in one battle, I should say, and then it evolves, right? But that's just the tip of the iceberg because how many times, I don't know if you've used him in game or not, but how many times have you used him in game and it's just like that's all he does? He doesn't stop critting Pokemon. He just knows where to hit.
I mean,
And he's gonna do that in Draft League too.
yeah. I mean, just from seeing in the max raid battles we've done, I mean, it's just never-ending crits.
He is a little slow,
Yeah.
but there are Pokemon on your team in particular that can handle the fast ones, and then there are the ones that can make it to where the slow ones can do better. And we'll just kind of leave it at that. I don't
Yeah.
want to overanalyze here, but I really like Pokemon like Galvantula and Gudra and Berserker and things like that to support the case for Surfetch.
Mhm.
I think great. Diggersby needs no explanation. Silvally is just extremely versatile. Barraskewda, I think, is kind of a one-trick pony, but it does what it does so well that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um, R Rotom Heat supports the whole rest of the team. Let me talk to you here about because I have no idea what you're gonna do, but I know it's gonna be great with these last 2 Pokemon in the end. You don't have to get into too much detail here, but I'd like to get an idea of what you were seeing in Pokemon like Berserker and Greedent.
Oh, Berserker, it's more so like, initially when I was playing the game, I hated just like what they did to Meowth when they made him what he was. And then eventually,
Beard.
yeah, and then just as it went along, Berserker just started growing on me. So I thought, he's got tough claws. It's interesting to try to play around with something like that. I just curious to see what he can do.
The crazy Viking cat, man. He's gonna come at him. I mean, he's gonna make up for all of the heartache that Gigantamax Meowth left us with. So Greedent, I have no idea what's going on there, but Cheek Pouch, kind of like that ripen ability before for Appleton and for Flapple coming up.
Hmm.
Uh, Cheek Pouch could be really valuable on a very thick Pokemon like Greedent because we haven't seen Cheek Pouch on Pokemon other than, no offense to your Diggersby. Diggersby does so many other things well that it doesn't really need Cheek Pouch all the
Yeah,
time. But uh, Dedenne, Dedenne had Cheek Pouch, and it
uh,
did almost nothing.
yeah. Dedenne was very lackluster.
To
I
think
mean,
of other cheek pouch Pokemon, but I guess that proves the point of how forgettable they have been in the past. And now that Greedent gets just such a ridiculous HP stat, it may be able to make use out of it. So,
and not only that, his defenses are both what in the 90s.
and the HP is like 112, so that combination makes him a thick little ground squirrel, man. He
Yeah,
he may not be able to run you down in the overworld, but he gonna get you eventually.
yeah.
Like the team. I think it's going to be interesting. I really am excited to see what you can pull out of this with the new mons and with the maybe not so expected mons. So you have a very uh, finely tuned knack for doing that. So congratulations on drafting the weirdest team, Dean. But you will draft also maybe one of the most successful ones. Uh, let's get into the Orlando Magic Mounts. This team is the exact opposite of yours. It has that is just as advertised.
Hmm.
Good job at that. He knows what is good, as it comes out or as it's being played, and he can pilot them very, very well for
Yeah.
that. I think he's
'Cause
always done a good job at, getting the Pokemon needed to construct a well-functioning team and then piloting it well.
I mean, that Corsola is that's going to be interesting to run against. Uh, and I know he wasn't super excited about Mantine, but I've briefly talked a few things with him over it, and he seems to have a little better understanding
Just
for
let
him.
him just let him wait until Gyarados tries to sweep with that water move, and then Mantine comes in. That's what you want.
Yeah,
That's what you want. Or for God's sakes, Dracovish. Nobody
yeah,
wants to see either of those, and Mantine stops it. So
yeah,
I think it was a good pick.
yeah. And considering he's
Um,
got, well, I mean, he's not got a lot that's weak to water, but I mean, a good
well,
prediction on a couple of his things, and I mean, electric move into Mantine, he's got Jolteon.
I
Uh,
told you it complements very well. And then Excadrill, the water move, you just switch into that, and you know, Ghost type. What is Excadrill weak to? Just let me know real quick.
fire and fighting and ground.
Ground and ground and water. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ground, Mantine. Water, Mantine. Fighting, Corsola.
fire,
Fire,
Chandelure.
Mantine, Chandelure. Yeah,
You
it's
flash
protecting
fire.
the main interest there
Yeah.
a lot. So the team complements itself very well. Hatterene can set up the Trick Room if he wants to go slower. He has some slower mons. If he
Mm-hmm.
wants to go faster, of course he can. Um, with Pokemon like Jolteon, Boltund, Hitmonlee, Excadrill, it's a very well balanced team. I think there's not a lot there that can take a lot of hits outside of Mantine, and maybe Obstagoon with a bulky set or Hatterene with a bulky set. But I'm hoping Corsola can shoulder the weight of that, which we know it probably can.
Yeah.
It's so thick.
It's got some pretty crazy buffs to his defense stats this gen, and on top of
Yeah,
that, with Eviolite, I mean, it's just
took +5 or +10 to each stat. I think it went from 95 to 100 for both defense and special defense,
yeah,
but you gotta take into consideration that evolution that Corsola got to Cursula allowed it to use Eviolite, which made it just so much better. Moves like Strength Sap and Will-O-Wisp just preserve it. It can look out for itself. You can look into its eyes and you see nothing there because it knows that it can do for itself. It's so good. Um, quick one I wanted to mention for Thomas's team here that we see that Mr. Mime again. That's also an Eviolite Pokemon, but down there next to him is the Boltund. That Boltund gets Strong Jaw. I'm sure it gets the trifecta of the different bites, the fangs, and he's fast. He's
uh
really
huh,
fast. Like 121 base stat speed, maybe not the fastest in this generation, but we're definitely up there. Definitely up there. It's gonna bite a lot of stuff. Yamper's a good boy. Bolton's gonna take some names and body parts.
it's just let's mosey on down to this next team. Got the Houston Brockets, and immediately we see the abomination that is Dracovish.
Perfect team to help it. Markovic is so bad. It hurts me. Uh, Dragon type is my favorite typing, and I got excited to see the fossil Pokemon were going to be Dragon type because if we didn't all know that Aerodactyl should have been Dragon, oh, oh man.
Yeah,
And then this is what we get. Really good, so people are using it. Oh no, no. Oh, I won't talk about it any more than that, but the supporting cast for it with Rabombi, Rotom Wash, Toxtricity, these Pokemon are going to make sure Dracovish can put the work in, and
yeah,
each one of them can still do a lot of work on their own. That top line right there, those first four picks, each pack a punch.
mm-hmm.
It's going to be nutty to see how often they're brought.
I'm
And getting down to the second line, the whole team it's intimidating.
curious to see if how many times that No Retreat Phalanx decides to make an appearance this season.
I anticipate that quite a bit, but it's going to take some fancy EV training to get that thing to where it can take the hits on the special defense side. The
Mm-hmm.
defense and HP stats are great. Of course, the attack's good, move pool's good, That special defense is a little weak, and he's not fast enough to just go out and hit no retreat. He's gonna have to have some help from our Bombi or from Rotom, to be able to outspeed whatever he's coming in against.
Yeah.
Once he's there to stay, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sojourner's just happy to be there, but Phalanx is there for battle.
Stonejourner, yeah.
He's such a
I mean, I feel like he's more of a doubles mon, but I'm sure there's a way to utilize him in singles.
there is. You ready?
Uh huh.
Dynamax. That's all there is to it. Is just Dynamax. The base power of his moves plus his attack stat plus his just ungodly like defense. Sure, special defense is based at 20. That's not good. Based at 100, based at 100 HP, based at 135 defense. And if you gave him a pinch berry because he is just rock type, he's not rock ground, he's not rock, water, he's not anything to where it's going to get a quad weak to grass or
Mm-hmm.
something that's running rampant meta. You can give him a pinch berry, EV him correctly, and then Dynamax him appropriately, and you can live the water hit. It's done. Dynamax is where it's at. Plus, you get the heat crash, you get heavy slam, you get the rock slide, you get all of these plethora of body press, stomping tantrum. He gets such a plethora of moves to where those max X moves, whatever you want to put in there, he turns from more just a Stonehenge into like the St. Louis Arch. I mean, he gonna stomp some people.
Mm-hmm. Looks like, see, Dewblade's really the only Eviolite mon on this team. Uh, Obviously, Aegislash is in Ubers, so he couldn't make the cut.
Good. That's okay. You got bargain Dialga there, Duraludon.
Yeah, yeah, he's going to be interesting to see as well. Uh,
If you had to pick one ability that you had to use every single week with Duraludon, what would you pick? Me too.
I mean,
So
it
I,
like,
I don't know what to use with it. I just think that it doesn't matter because his attacks are so good,
mm-hmm.
so good. There's just not a lot that can take him out. Ground fighting dragon, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's well, still resist dragons, so he's not even.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, he's literally only got fighting and ground really to deal with.
It's gonna be a problem because Duraludon is deceptively fast for a toilet. He's 85 base speed, and he hits hard with the special side. He could be a bulky physical hitter. I mean, you can build him different ways. Duraludon's a lot of fun. Ethan's team. Oh no.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's a bit of a problem.
There's just so much bad in one place. So much bad. Now the good thing that I'm seeing here is that it's actually at the top of the screen, the very homepage part that says singles. Because if any of these two Pokemon, any of them, were on the field at the same time, this team would become exponentially better, and it's already dauntingly scary.
Yeah,
Our Manatan is crazy. We'll leave that alone. Arcanine, is amazing as a bulky Pokemon, but if it was coupled up with Whimsicott or Dottler or anything like that, I would quit. I would quit the league. I would leave.
this is like this is like looking at part of the main VGC meta from a few years ago.
Just with some adaptations. Yeah, we know what Nate likes, but we also see things that are going to really, I don't know. Uh,
I really hope
they're
Dottler
gonna have to
can
keep
do some
played
stuff
well.
this season.
You too. I like the little guy. He was on my in-game team. I think he's gonna have more implications for doubles down the road, but I wanna see what he can do as an Eviolite user on this team. That's the trend this season, isn't it? Everybody has Eviolite. You've got Doublade, you've got Dottler, you've got Corsola. Um,
Mr. Mime.
I'm scrolling up here, looking through. We've got Dusclops, but hmm, will be more. There will be a lot more. Yeah, but it seems like just about every team has some Eviolite of some sort for those baby mons that are just so thick. So maybe that's what he's got in mind is just to make it as a pivot because Dottler's got great defensive stats for his second evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lucas has setup potential, and it's just hard to beat. Centiskorch is probably one of the coolest bug type Pokemon I think that's ever been produced. And I know you like your bug types, Dean,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
but
I've.
this one, it's Nieto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's interesting. It's I mean, type combination. I think it's only shared with what Volcarona.
Yes, and Volcarona is strictly special, and Scorch is definitely a physical Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
so it's nice to get a variation in the absence of Volcarona this generation.
Yeah, he gets Fire Lash. So I mean,
That is a move that definitely needed to be brought in again because Heatmore couldn't have a monopoly on that. It was just too cool. And now I think Salazzle gets access to it.
yeah.
So Gen 8 has definitely done a favor for one of the coolest moves for the physical fire side that just doesn't get seen. Everything has been Flare Blitz in the past, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
oh god, Recreate. So I'm glad Fire Lash is going to be a prominent move. Look into Morpiko's Cold Dead Eyes, and you'll see nothing there.
Yeah,
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It could have late game sweep potential.
it's just going to be interesting to see how that's utilized.
It's going to be pretty much like Bolt Hunt. You just throw it in, you click one move, and that's all it'll have to do.
Yeah.
Or like Dracovish. There's so many Pokemon this season. Oh god, even on this team. Uh Togekiss with Air Slash, Darmanitan with Icicle Crash, Morpeko with Hunger Switch, the
Or a will.
that one. It's just there's it's just clicking, just rapid button pressing. Can we move on?
Yeah, yeah. We'll scroll on down to
Anxiety.
like like you've got the honors of being the last team.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, all I can say is I'm glad that Libero is not released right now for Cinderace. Looking at this
That
season.
could have been a problem because Cinderace and Inteleon and Flapple would have combined together on Tyranitar's back to make a big Voltron looking thing, and then Greninja would have spouted out from the diamond and been like,
Oh
"I'm
no,
back."
no! Please, please, can we leave him behind? I don't want to think about it.
I
Uh,
do think that my team could be Power Rangers. I mean, look at Serena. It's definitely the pink one.
yeah.
Okay. Dusclops is definitely the black Power Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Heliolisk is yellow. Inteleon is blue. Cinderace is red. I mean, it's great. Then you throw in a couple Zoids for good measure with Copperajah and Tyranitar. It's what I wanted. This is what Pokemon was meant to be. Power Rangers and Quagsire.
So Quagsire would be just whatever the robot was from Power Rangers that always seemed like it was just goofing around.
What do you think I drafted him? Look at this man.
Like I'm not saying anything bad about Quagsire. He's my boy. Uh
Not a whole lot going on up there though, is there?
No, there's not a lot
No.
going on. I
He
mean,
just kinda I mean, there's a reason he gets unaware as an ability
yeah,
to high school, but he showed up at the prom, so you just don't get it. You just don't get it. Apple's eye placement bothers me.
yeah. He's not as cute as how like Appleton's eyes are like his ears hanging down, but
Apple ready to spit too.
yeah. I don't like the idea that like the apple parts are just stuck to his hands. Like that's weird to me. But I mean, like we were saying earlier with Appleton with Ripen, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no telling what kind of setup potential you have there. Uh Hustle, I mean, he could benefit from blunder policy. Uh T-Tar, T-Tar's just always scary when you see him.
Atari is gonna be really good. He's kinda got the same thing that, Gyarados does. They're very bulky, very, they can steamroll, just Dynamax sweepers. T-Tar can also be kind of a supporting set. He doesn't get to Pursuit Trap this generation since that's been removed from the game, but, his move pool's great. He gets a lot of great stuff.
Caparaja, I want it to be good, and I mean he's got the ability to be good, but he's just so slow, and it just seems like he's not all that bulky.
You would think you would have more. His HP stat's good. He's meant to Dynamax as well, I think.
Yeah,
And he gets a couple of good moves, so I anticipate he's gonna be the hazard setup for this season. I don't really know how I'm gonna use him yet. He's just kinda there for now, but he looks cool.
mm-hmm.
I want Double to be good, and I think, you know, may do some screaming with the Heliolisk. Who knows what's gonna happen there? Um, and Serena's got that cool rapid spin set up now, so a lot of things that were good before have gotten better this generation, and a lot of new things that I wanted to employ. So I think this team worked out well for drafting from the seat of my pants. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, it's very well balanced. I mean, I'm curious to see how you use this stuff this season.
Probably poorly, but we'll see. Hold my hand, Dean. Just hold it, and I'll make it.
You and me
You
both,
know what?
man.
You don't have to. I have Quagsire. Don't worry about it. Quag and Dusclops on the other side. We'll make it.
Oh boy,
That's
it's
got it. That's covered. We covered the whole list there, didn't we?
yeah,
Almost one at a time.
yeah, that's yeah. I'm looking forward to this season, just seeing how things are done. I mean, it's obviously having to relearn a whole new set of mons, and some of the ones from that are coming back having to just figure out what they still have to work with and what new tools that they got.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Lily at the end of USUM, where I come walking out and I'm like, all right, the whole game's over, but I finally found my Z move form. Here I am. And that's how I feel is okay, the game's over. But I figured it out. So it'll be fine. Anxiety about it at all.
Oh, well, uh, looking forward to playing around with some of the mods on my team this weekend and figuring out uh how things are going to work out this season, as I'm sure you are.
Sure. Yeah, and
Uh,
there's gonna be some more meta-analysis coming up in the future, right? Week to week and covering up on some of the cooler moves and sets.
yeah. Hopefully we can do a weekly summary someday. We may do it like on Thursdays.
Excellent.
That
Very good.
way, that way we could do it in the evening once the free trades for that week have been,
Try to cover updated rosters, sure.
yeah, just kind of get the news out there on that. Just make some highlights and
Sure.
figure things out as we go.
Excellent, excellent. Alright, well, this has been a blast. I appreciate you having me in on the call and getting to go over some of this material.
Oh yeah, anytime, man. And we look forward for anyone out there tuning in. Uh, we'll hope to catch you guys in some of our live battles and maybe on some of the replays later on. But
Sure you catch everything on ultimatepokemonchampionship.com.
yeah, I'll make sure that there's a link down in the description. And I think that's going to be it. We will catch you guys later.